Hello everybody, this is Nabil Salam, also known as the Noble Player, and today I'm going to be doing a review for Bad Boys Ride or Die. This is the fourth installment of the Bad Boys franchise, and in this film we have Will Smith and Martin Lawrence back at it again as Mike and Marcus. They have to go into a new case in which the captain who has died from the last movie, Captain Howard, has been accused of doing illegal activity with a drug cartel. So this puts Mike and Marcus on an actual new adventure in which they have to stop the drug cartel while being able to clear up Captain Howard's name in good faith. So before I get to the actual movie itself, Ride or Die, I first want to say that I'm actually a big fan of this franchise. The first two movies were directed by Michael Bay. I really enjoyed like the over-the-top action, and I really enjoyed, of course, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's comedic chemistry. Their whole back and forth really elevates the franchise a lot forward. Even though it's a franchise that you've kind of seen the tropes done before over and over again. That's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in those movies together make those movies really special. And then we had the third movie, which came out 20 years after the events of the second movie. And I didn't know what to expect from that one because a lot of the actors were aging, as well as the fact that we had a brand new creative team, new directors involved, Adil and Bilal. But that third movie, For Life, was much better than it really should have been. It was actually a really good film that really revived the franchise, while keeping and retaining the elements of what made the first two movies really good, with some new ideas sprinkled in there for the third movie. Now the fourth movie comes out 4 years after the events of the third film. Is this really going to work again with the same directors as the third film, and the fact that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence has aged increasingly from with 3 and 4 and then beforehand with the second film? And luckily I can tell you that Ride or Die, this new one, is actually a really worthy installment of this franchise. I really enjoyed this film. And first I want to say, getting into the positives, I mentioned before, the thing that really elevated this franchise is really the comedic chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. And again, in this movie, they did it again. They nailed it. They have a lot of really great funny moments together. You can tell that both these actors are having a great time. They're really adjusting into these roles, regardless of really their age at this time. And their whole character arcs really is in the follow-up of the last movie, For Life, in which, as they're aging, for instance, Will Smith, needs to tie down, he needs to get married, for instance, and he has to realize, some of the things that he's going into with some of these investigations as a police cop is not always going to last forever. And Marcus, for instance, who's played by by Martin Lawrence, he actually, obviously he's always been like, the scene stealer of these movies. He's the comedic relief, but he has a lot of health problems, for example, and his own wife and his own family members get worried about him, especially can he continue being a cop within this force, for instance. And again, this provides a lot of, a really good natural character growth within those two characters, the characters that we loved back within this franchise, and giving still the ability to be able to work on some of these action sequences and be a part of the action, well, as far as, maintaining their skills and their capabilities, which is still pretty good given both of their ages, really. Adil and Bilal are the directors of this movie, with the directors of the third film. And they come back for this one, and they continue to provide, their own unique action style to these scenes. So a lot of the times what they'll do is, obviously, they have the over-the-top action that from the previous films, but at the same time, they have a nice approach to like colors, great visuals, really. They have this idea to emulate a lot of like the action that came out from the 90s action movies really well, with a lot of explosions, a lot of gunfire that's done really well. There was one scene, I'm not going to give away too much of the context of it. When a character is able to have a handgun, for example, the camera will actually have the point of view of the gun like this, really. So it looks like a first-person shooter game. If you ever played like a classic Doom game, or you played Quake, it looks almost similar to that. It's really nice. It's very in the moment in terms of like these intact action sequences that are just very fresh and unique and very fun to play around with. You can tell the directors have a really good eye for action, really well, especially within the Bad Boys franchise. A lot of the returning characters that we saw from the third movie come back for this one. And they play, they played a really good role in the third film, being able to collaborate alongside, Mike and Marcus in terms of their investigations. And they are really good and very valuable team members within this new film as well. we have also the returning character of Will Smith's, Mike's legitimate son in Armando, who actually is a very good, valuable player also in this film as well, because this gives a lot of Mike a chance to actually grow as a character. A lot of the dramatic weight really built within both, Mike and his son Armando throughout the movie, especially since the last film was very cold and very distant from the things that happened in the last movie. And really, at the end of the day, what makes this film work is what made the other 3 movies work. It's a very much like a if it works, don't fix it. Don't try to change anything kind of formula. Where you want to see this film for like over the top action sequences. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get some really good, well directed action sequences throughout. You're also gonna get a lot of comedy that's built within Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's chemistry throughout. It's just a really nice way to, continue to give the fans of the franchise like what they really want in the first place. And again, this is just a lot of fun, really. I had a really good audience, a good portion of the audience in my auditorium, in my screening, that were laughing and cheering throughout the film, which is really good because the last few movies that I've reviewed on this channel didn't really have that at all. It was very quiet and really distant. Nothing really much happens from there. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those a lot. And I also want to say, in terms of maybe some of the negatives of this film, the plot itself, the synopsis of the movie, where they try to actually clear the captain's name in good faith because of the drug cartel situation. That's actually a really good premise. I like that this actually builds in within Mike and Mox's character throughout their relationship with their captain and how really strong that was throughout the previous 3 movies. I will say a lot of the new characters that are introduced in this film specifically, that Mike has a new has a wife right now actually, and he has to look out for her. You don't get to really spend a lot of time with this character, and there's a lot of other characters within the family of within Captain Howard, family members. And you don't get a lot of screen time necessarily, or don't get a lot of development from them. So they use those characters a lot to elevate the stakes throughout later on in the movie, and you don't care about them as much necessarily. There are other things that are way more interesting within this film, specifically when it comes to the personal dilemmas that happen between Mike and Lau's character, and the relationship between Armando and Mike at the same time. Those are more interesting throughout. And again, this is a plot that's not necessarily fresh or unique necessarily. There are a lot of twists and turns that you're going to see coming a mile away. You'll see them when you see these new characters for the first time, honestly. But really, that's kind of pretty much it. I also want to say as well that there was an interview where both Martin Lawrence and Will Smith said they might have at least one more movie in them to make one last Bad Boys film. I kind of feel like, for example, if this was the last movie, without giving away anything, this would have been okay. If you want to do another movie, if this one becomes successful, I hope the next one is the last film, only because there are moments where, even though they're all both Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are capable in giving comedic, having good comedic time delivery, and also being able to be involved in the action scenes very well, you can kind of tell a little bit that they're aging out a little bit. They're aging a little bit, and I hope really all the best for them. Not to put themselves in a lot of danger later on, or to be overtly fatigued, especially for Martin Lawrence. God bless that Martin Lawrence is in movies nowadays, especially because of his current health problems in real life that he's able to recover. I also will say, in order to wrap up this video, I know that there's a lot of people who don't want to see this film. If you're a Bad Boys fan or like action comedies, largely because of the incident with Will Smith with the slap. The thing that I'm going to take away from that, without giving away anything, I don't like what Will Smith necessarily did, no matter what the joke really was. And to be fair, I've always seen Will Smith as a bit of a fraud and a little bit of a fake showman over the last 10 years for a variety of reasons. But really, just to give you a little bit of, no spoilers or anything like that, Will Smith does not slap anybody in this film. However, I will say there is a character that does slap directly at Will Smith in this film. Well, it is a funny bit in its own right, and the audience did laugh a lot from it. I was in the theater just going like this. Oh, why? Why are they doing this? I don't want to be reminded of that, personally. But really, it's just a minor nitpick. I just want to give that out there in case you were very concerned about the movie without giving any spoilers whatsoever. I will say Will Smith did a good job in this movie regardless, but there are times he tries to be serious, but it doesn't really work as much anymore just because of that slap that happened beforehand. Again, I will say if you're one of those people that maybe doesn't want to see the film because of the slap of Will Smith, I understand completely and I respect your opinion entirely. My job really, as you know, I'm making this video, I want to say, like, for example, if you are, you know, a fan of this franchise and you're sort of someone that can kind of get over that notion about what happened at the Oscars, then I do recommend you go see this film 100%. It is a lot of fun. It's a worthy installment of this franchise. It's probably, if I'm going to rank the films, it's probably maybe my second favorite, honestly, of this franchise. Obviously, the first one was the best, but I would say the fourth is maybe like this much, and then the third, and I'll probably say the second. Although, I do like all of those movies regardless, and I can definitely rewatch these movies. Sort of. I mean, it's the Will Smith thing is kind of but really, at the end of the day, though, I will say that Ride or Die is a really good time at the movies. If you're a big fan of this franchise, you will like this movie for sure. Again, I'll be very curious to see, you know, where they go next, especially if this movie becomes successful. Only because how far can they really go with this franchise, especially as Will Smith and Martin Lawrence keep on aging as time goes on. That'll have to be determined to be seen. But on a scale of 0 to 10 drug cartels, I'm going to give the film an 8 out of 10 because, again, as a fan of this franchise, I really enjoyed this film. Again, it delivers on the action, delivers a lot on the comedy, and just Martin Lawrence and Will Smith in a movie together alone is just worth the price of admission, in my opinion, and worth watching for sure. So I know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys have seen this movie, did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? What is your ranking, actually, of the Bad Boys franchise if you have seen this new one, Ride or Die? Hope you guys can tell me in the comment section below. And if you guys like more videos about this, talking about movies, video games, live reactions, live streams, and more content down the line, I hope you guys can like this video. I hope you guys can subscribe to the channel as well. I've been really excited about the way I'm trying to grow this channel with a different variety of content throughout. And until then, I hope I'll see you guys in the next video.